Alright, let's do this. 4.4. This is the quiz review. Determine all missing arc measures. So we're really just trying to find this. That's FG. We're trying to find VF. And we're trying to find HV. Because we're already given GH. I'll just do this in blue. So GH is 168. Now, we're also given some inscribed angles. So start with this one, 119. This inscribed angle is 119 degrees, which means its intercepted arc. So you have to kind of look at its endpoints and say, okay, from that endpoint all the way to this endpoint should be 2 times that inscribed angle. So this is 2 times the inscribed angle of 119. This gives us 238. So we know that, and I'll write it like this, FGH, that's the major arc, from F all the way to H is 238. Now, since we know this whole thing is 238, but from H to G is 168, all we need to find, or all we need to do to find just FG, I'll do this in red, all we need to do to find FG is take 238 and subtract out 168, which gives us 70. So FG is 70 degrees. Now let's look at the other angle we have, which is 65 degrees. This inscribed angle should leave an intercepted arc of 130 degrees, since it's 2 times 65. So VG is equal to 130. Now, since VG is equal to 130, but FG is 70, we know that FV, or VF, is 130 minus 70. It's 70 less than 130, so to speak. So we should get 60. This equals 60. So let's do this in another color, orange. From V to F, we have 60 degrees. Finally, we can get that last arc by taking all of these arcs and subtracting them from 360, because a full circle is 360. And we want to subtract out those arcs. Be careful when doing this. You don't want to add up too many arcs because a lot of these are overlapping, right? 238 here, that's from H to F. If you do 238, you don't want to also subtract out 70, because 70 is already part of that 238. But 60 is not. So I'll just kind of rewrite over this. We know 238 is all the way from H all the way to F. So that's 238, and then the remainder is that 60. So 360 minus 238 plus 60, that should be 298. And therefore we should have that VH is 62. So this last one is 62. We'll do a different color. This one right here is 62. Alright, cool. So we have all those missing arcs. This one here gives us an inscribed angle of 95 degrees. So its intercepted arc, all of this, must be 2 times that. So it's 190. Right? 95 times 2 is 190. Now, we're basically done, right? We have the full circle is 360, but if we take out 190 and 75, we have SQ. So 360 minus 190 plus 75, that's 265. So we should get a remainder of 95. That means SQ is 95. Alright, determine the value of x. So there's a handful of ways you can do this. Just remember that just because I'm doing it maybe different than you are doesn't mean you're wrong. What matters is we get the correct answer. So this is 110, which means that KRQ is 220 because it's 2 times that measure. Now, since you have 220 from that whole thing, you know the remainder of the circle, which is, it says 50 plus 30x, should add up with 220 to make 360. So 220 plus 140. So this must be 140. And we know it's equal to those terms that they give us, 50 and 30x. Subtract 50 from both sides. We get 90 is equal to 30x. Therefore, x equals 3. Now for this one, you can look at this and say, wow, look, LN is a diameter. We should always keep our eyes peeled for diameters being drawn because it tells us quite a bit. Lets us know that all of this is 180. And everything on the other side too, right, since it's diameter, at least LMN, right, that's this orange arc, is also 180. You'll notice that those two arcs, 7x minus 10 and 13x minus 10, all add up to 180. So, combine like terms and solve for x. Ten times 20 equals 200. There we are. Let me show this over here. Alright. The diagram below, we know that LMN in the diagram, so both of them, LMN, notice M is the vertex, so that's this right here, equals 6x. I'm going to mark it over here too, LMN. This is 6x. So for this one, again, notice this is a diameter. LN is a diameter. Since it's a diameter, we know the arc it creates, so that's all of this, is 180. But notice that L and N are the endpoints of this inscribed angle, right here. So you have to think, if the intercepted arc is 180, and LMN must be half of 180, which is 90. So this should actually be a right angle, 90 degrees. So 6x equals 90. That's what we set up. So divide by 6 on both sides, you get x equals 15. Now with this one, we've talked about this before. It's in our notes. We know that opposite angles of a cyclic quadrilateral are supplementary, not equal. A lot of people are mixing that up. They're not equal, they are supplementary. So that means that 60 plus 6x equals 180. Subtract 60 from both sides, we get 120. Therefore, x equals 20.